Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Duffy, and welcome to the premiere edition of Newsmakers. This is going to be an interview, an in-depth interview that we are going to do every week at this time, where we are going to take the time to talk to the people who are shaping the future and the present of Northeast Ohio and the city of Cleveland. And today on the premiere edition, I am thrilled to welcome the mayor of Cleveland, the Honorable Justin Bibb. Mayor, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks
we
for
really
having me.
appreciate it in getting this going. And I know what your primary mission is, because you've told me many times, for the city of Cleveland, and that's safety. So that's where I'm going to start. The number one job that you have is to do what you can to keep the city safe. So give me a moment to get into this, because I want to throw some numbers out here that I know you're very proud of. And it starts with the RISE initiative that you guys put in place in July of 2023. RISE is an investment. It's partnerships, it's enforcement, it's technology, all put in place to reduce crime, correct?
Absolutely.
That's where you're going with that. Then in October of last year, Operation Northern Harvest was added to RISE, a multi-agency effort, state and feds getting involved. And compared to the 2.5 years before you took office, now to the years where RISE went into effect and where we are right now, homicides down 37%, robberies down 20%, assaults down 21%. It's working?
It's working. We've been very clear since I took office that we need to have a aggressive but thoughtful approach about how we keep illegal guns off our streets, how we arrest repeat violent criminals so they're not on our streets committing violent crime. But also we had to make sure we were bold and thoughtful as well about attracting and recruiting and retaining great officers to be a part of the Cleveland Division of Police. So really proud of the progress that we've made. In no way can we ever declare a mission accomplished in terms of public safety, because one homicide is too many, one shooting is too many, one carjacking is too many. But I'm just so proud of the hard work and of the men and women of the Cleveland Division of Police and all that they do to keep our streets safe and secure.
And what we've got to point out is we're not just talking about downtown Cleveland here. We're talking about the neighborhoods as well. In neighborhoods where we've had significant violent crime, southeast portion of the city. These numbers encompass the whole city, not just downtown.
Absolutely. And I think what's unique about this approach is we recognize that law enforcement can't do it alone. That's why, every summer we do neighborhood walks, walking the beat with building and housing, public health, Cleveland Public Power, water, all of our departments, every department that touches our families and our children and our residents and our businesses, to really make sure we address the quality of life crimes. And because a broken street light is about public safety, a decaying home is about public safety, lack of affordable food is about public safety, folks speeding up and down the street is about public safety. That's why we've installed hundreds of speed tables across the city. So it really is an all-of-government approach to keep our streets safe.
It's the broken windows theory that a lot of people really believe in. You mentioned the police recruiting, and there's some numbers out there that are pretty impressive. 2022 and 2023, 55 total recruits. 2024 and 2025, 251 total recruits. You made a big deal about what you're paying. That's important. Pay is always important, but there's more to this, isn't there? What is it that are driving young people, not always just really young people, to want to be police officers in the city of Cleveland?
Well, pay was a big deal.
Right. Oh, I know. Yeah.
Because, in 2022, when we got to City Hall, Cleveland was ranked almost dead last statewide in terms of cadet pay for when you're in the academy, and overall police pay after you join the Division of Police. And so we were losing officers to Shaker, to Twinsburg and Solon, to RTA, to Akron and Columbus. And so we had to get to work to boost police pay. So we boosted police pay by over 34% in just 3 years. We doubled pay for folks who joined the police academy. But we also did some cultural things to change the department. I heard from a lot of young officers that we couldn't have beards, you couldn't have tattoos, you couldn't wear ball caps or skull caps when it got to be the wintertime. So we changed that policy, right? So that way people can be their authentic selves when they join our department. We did things like pass paid parental leave for every department at City Hall. And guess what division has used that probably the most? The Cleveland Division of Police.
Right.
So they can still have a family. We changed the scheduling for officers because we had so many officers that had mandated overtime. Now with our 12-hour scheduling changes, you can have almost 26 weekends off as a cop in Cleveland.
Right.
That's half
helps.
almost half of every weekend in a whole year.
Right.
That's a big deal. And all those things have gone a long way to make our division of police, I believe, not only one of the best in the state, but one of the best in the country.
What are you hearing on these walks that you take? I know you just did one recently when you talk to people about public safety. Are they feeling this on the streets? Do you believe people in the neighborhoods and in downtown believe, and I just said all the numbers because those are the numbers, do people believe that they're safer now in the city of Cleveland than they were 3 or 4 years ago?
Brian, I have to be very honest with you. Some do and some don't. And that's why this work around public safety will be a continuous project for me as long as I'm the mayor of my hometown. Numbers are one thing, and the data is very clear. But we as a city must continue to do a better job of making people feel safe in their neighborhood, safe to walk to a local business, safe walking their kids to school, safer when their kids leave school to come back home. We want downtown to be a safe place for not only residents and our businesses, but also for tourists and visitors coming from out of town. And so not only is this about the law enforcement side of public safety, but things like we've done to make our city more clean. For example, we had a big issue around homeless encampments, not just in downtown, but in our neighborhoods. And in 2024, we created a program called A Home for Every Neighbor, where we're cutting red tape, we're housing people who may have suffered from drug abuse or alcohol abuse. And because of this program, we have housed over 200 people across all 15 wards across Cleveland in just 2 years. No longer do you see the large encampments in the urban core in our neighborhoods.
Right.
Now you might see one-offs here and there,
Sure.
but we've really done a fantastic job of addressing the perception of Cleveland being a safe, prosperous city. Obviously, there's always more work to do, but that's why these walks are so important. And you'd be surprised, Brian, the biggest complaint that we get on our neighborhood walks isn't about gun violence and folks shooting at each other. Groundhogs and speeding.
No kidding. Speeding.
Yeah.
I believe that. I
Yeah.
spend a lot of time driving around the city and in the neighborhoods, and I could see why people.
So that's why traffic enforcement and hotspots is a big thing we focus on, not just in the summer, but year-round. Installing more speed tables is a big priority for us. And in this last year's budget, we had the largest investment ever in animal care and control to hopefully eradicate or really address our groundhog
I don't mean to
problem.
laugh. I understand
if
people are bringing it up, then
exactly.
it's real. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with the mayor. We're going to talk about downtown. We're going to talk specifically about downtown safety and also about all the aspects that are going on in downtown, which is just has so much going on, and we need to keep it safe and need to keep people wanting to be down here. We'll be right back.
True crime lives here. Watch Dark Side of the Land on 19 News Plus.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Duffy. Welcome back to Newsmakers. We are joined today by the mayor of the city of Cleveland, Justin Bibb. Thank you again, Mayor, for being here. We're talking about quality of life issues. Let's talk about this 311 program, because that addresses it. You can call 311 because your neighbor's not cutting their grass, because you're worried about broken windows in the house next door. You can call 311 for a lot of reasons. Is that working?
It is. We're getting a tremendous amount of engagement, tons of call volume since we've modernized 311. And I think 311 is probably, outside of 911, the most important front door we have to our city these days. This is important because, 4 years ago when I took office, there was 2 entry points to get a complaint filed with the city of Cleveland, you had 311, which hadn't had any real investment in years. Then you had the Mayor's Action Center hotline. And those systems rarely talk to each other. And so over the last 3 years, we've really done a fantastic job modernizing our 311 call center, where you can get someone to talk to you 24/7, 7 days a week. And you can get your pothole complaint field. If you need a new trash can, a new recycling bin, 311 will complete that for you. And it's so important that we are responding to the basic needs of our residents through this new platform.
I love to hear that, because I think the quality of life issues really need to improve in our neighborhoods, and this is really a good way to do that. Let's talk about downtown now, and let's get right to the lakefront development and where we are right now. I know you've got DiGeronimo developers. They're the master developers. MVRDV has been installed as the planners, architects, researchers. Where do we sit right now? I know when was it going to be? 2027 was supposed to be the start of the North Coast Connector. Some are calling it the land bridge still. Is all this still on track and pace?
All on track. We're going to have shovels in the ground next year for the North Coast Connector, which is going to do a better job of connecting the core of our city to our lakefront that has been walled off from Clevelanders for far too long. And what gives me a lot of joy and excitement is the fact that there is so much excitement and pent-up demand for Clevelanders to experience our waterfronts. Last weekend, we had to essentially close two of the hottest spots on the lakefront because of it was oversubscribed. It goes to show you that people want to be on the water. And so we've done a fantastic job of securing the money for this work to happen. On the lakefront side, we got not only the $100 million from the Haslam family through the Brown settlement deal, but we secured another $150 million from the state and federal government. That's a $250 million of investment that we're putting to work to ensure that this project happens. We executed our roughly $4 billion tax increment financing district, our shore-to-shore TIF district, to accelerate the public infrastructure from the riverfront to the lakefront.
You can see the Cavs facility, the clinic
That's
facility.
going to be done next year, which I'm really excited for.
That's a big first step.
Huge first step. Irishtown Bend will be complete soon. And so relatively soon, Clevelanders will start to see more shovels in the ground, more cranes in the sky, more lakefront access, more riverfront access to really make Cleveland the two waterfront city that we deserve to have.
I didn't mention the North Coast Waterfront Development Corporation. Did I get the name correct?
That's correct.
What are you hearing from them? How often do you talk to them, Mayor? I mean, are you on the phone with these guys every day? Because and we've had this conversation, I have been listening to these plans
for a long time.
And I guess I'm subscribing to the theory is I'll believe it when I see it. When I see those shovels in the ground, and so I'm waiting for 2027. I'm not doubting you. I believe it's going to happen this time. I really do, because we're too far down the road here. So what are you hearing from them every day?
Ain't no turning back. This is going to happen. And I talk to Scott Skinner and members of that board on a weekly basis about the progress.
He's the director of the North Coast.
And that organization is important because historically, a mayor or a member of council will have a plan for the lakefront. But as you know, Brian, in this job, there's one crisis after the other crisis after the other crisis. And it's easy to get distracted. It's easy to get your eye off the ball. And so that's why starting this outside public-private entity that wakes up every single day executing our plan for lakefront development. So not only are we excited about the 50-acre development on the stadium site, we're excited about the ongoing conversations we're having with our federal delegation to hopefully one day, hopefully by the end of my second term, close Burke. That's another 450 acres of prime lakefront development we can open up to the people of the city. But this summer, we're going to open up again North Coast Yards. Last summer, we had thousands of people come downtown in a surface parking lot that we have created a pop-up park. Folks are playing pickup basketball, soccer, roller skating with food trucks, watching the air show, watching the fireworks.
Which will eventually be developed as
Yes,
part of this.
absolutely. And you know, we were at the christening and the opening of the USS Cleveland ship at North Coast Yards,
Right.
showing people what's possible again on our lakefront. And so I'm excited about the fact that this is the most progress the city has ever seen, and I want to make sure that I deliver for Clevelanders to show them that it's possible for us to be a waterfront city.
Right, and it's not just happening in downtown. And again, I mentioned this at the top when we're talking about safety and how important the neighborhoods are too. So there's a lot of exciting things happening in the neighborhoods, and I know this midline business district that we're just talking about, and that's connected to these houses that I know you're working on this, and this is something that's just going to be popping here very, very soon in the Clark Fulton and the Buckeye neighborhood. That's important stuff. New homes in those neighborhoods. And that's tied to midline?
It's all connected, and let me tell you why. My grandparents came to Cleveland because they wanted to achieve the American dream. Both sets of my granddads worked in the auto plants. They were part of the United Auto Workers Union. One of my grandfathers was a labor leader with UAW. Cleveland was a walk-to-work city. And that's the story of many black Americans who came to Cleveland and many immigrants from all around the world who came to Cleveland because we were the sixth largest city in America, and we led America's first industrial revolution in the 1900s. And we know how the story went. Jobs got shipped overseas, and Cleveland got left behind because we didn't have a game plan to recover. We didn't see where the world was going. We didn't look around the corner. I want to make sure Cleveland doesn't do that again. So that's why this midline project and our Housing Innovation Fund is so important to me.
Right.
We are investing the most this city has ever seen in black neighborhoods in the inner city that have not seen a seismic investment in a long time. The Midline District and the Central neighborhood and the Fairfax neighborhood, we are converting over 350 acres of brownfield, dirty land into shovel-ready job sites to bring jobs and real wealth opportunities back to that neighborhood. Through our Housing Innovation District, we want to make sure that the promise of home ownership can be available to everybody in our city. And so not only did we do the pilot in Clark Fulton and Buckeye around modular housing, but we think we can see some real scale around home ownership in St. Clair, Superior, and Huff. And through this Housing Innovation District, we'll be doing the same tax increment financing district that we've used to accelerate lakefront development. We're putting that tool to work in our neighborhoods.
Right, shore to core to shore, you're using the TIFs there.
Exactly. And this will be the second TIF we've ever done, this kind of TIF. Cincinnati has tens of TIFs.
Right.
Columbus, tens of TIFs. Chicago, hundreds of TIFs, right? So this has been a tool that's been at our disposal for a long time that we failed to use. And so, you know, we're seeing a housing crisis in this country. We have a affordability of homes in Cleveland, a housing crisis in Cleveland. We are showing the nation what's possible in terms of addressing our housing affordability crisis.
Okay. All right. Thank you. That's great. We've got a lot more ground still to cover. We'll be right back on this edition of Newsmakers with the mayor of the city of Cleveland, Justin Bibb.
First Alert traffic and weather together all morning long. Stream 19 News this morning on 19 News Plus.
Hi everybody, Brian Duffy. Welcome back to this edition, the premiere edition of Newsmakers. We are joined by Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb. Mayor, again, thank you for being here. I want to talk about one other redevelopment project that I know is important to you that started in 2023. So you've been at this for a while. It's the Southeast Side Promise, Lee Harvard, Union Miles, the Mount Pleasant neighborhoods. A lot of people have felt for a lot of years they've been neglected out there. And listen, 2023, you've been trying to do something out there. You've gotten a lot done. 130 blighted buildings, torn down homes that just could not be redeveloped. $10 million invested, street side improvements. Is it working there? Are you seeing the improvements there? Do the people in those neighborhoods feel like it's getting better?
You know, I was at Mount Pleasant Barbecue last night and talking to residents about the investments we made in small businesses like Mount Pleasant Barbecue, over $2 million of investment to small businesses across the southeast side. You know, we have deployed $15 million of capital for home repair, home rehab, to support small businesses and to incentivize large-scale development. And because of that $15 million down payment, we have secured over $100 million of private investment now in the southeast side. So we're getting the ROI that we wanted and that we need for a long-term economic transformation in that part of the city. Still a long way to go, but we're making material progress to make sure the southeast side is vibrant and prosperous long-term.
The people there feel like that? Are they feeling it?
They do feel it. But again, we got to get more cranes in the sky and get more shovels in the ground. But we have laid the foundation for that economic investment to happen long-term.
Okay, and let's talk about downtown real quick. And I always like to watch how many people are moving into downtown Cleveland. I love the fact that people are moving into Ohio City and the Detroit Shoreway neighborhood, and Tremont. And I think they are. And then there's 21,000 people who are living downtown. When I moved back to my hometown here in Cleveland in 1999, man, there wasn't nothing. There was nothing going on. So 21,000 people now. Is that plateauing a little bit, or are we still seeing growth there?
We are still seeing growth. Downtown is a neighborhood, just like Mount Pleasant, Union Miles, and Battery Park, and Tremont, and Detroit Shoreway. Our goal is to hit 30,000 residents downtown over the next 5 to 10 years. You're seeing more demand for apartments downtown. We're working with Bedrock on exploring for sale condos downtown to diversify the housing stock that we have in the core. The Wall Street Journal showcased how our downtown has led the nation for several years now on converting old office buildings to apartments. And now we're trying to lead the nation around how do we take these dilapidated old office buildings and redevelop them for more companies, because the offices of the early 2000s aren't as competitive as they need to be in 2026. And so I put together a task force focused on this effort. Over 50 volunteers donated over 400 hours of volunteer time to support this endeavor. We'll be announcing those recommendations soon, but we have an aggressive plan to transition our downtown to be one of the best downtowns in the country. I'm excited about COSM that's coming to East 4th. Great restaurants like Cordelia and Mabel's and so many others. And so there's a lot of progress that we've made and a lot more progress to come.
Office workers and retail, and this is the last question I'm going to ask you. That's going to drive the retail. And there's a lot of debate about, well, if we get 5,000 more people to live downtown, the retail will come. But other people will tell you that you got to have the office workers downtown, and they really drive the retail. How do you see that, and how do you keep office workers in downtown Cleveland, get the businesses that have people who are working remote, get them to bring them back down and bring more businesses into downtown who have workers in the offices here?
Well, all of the investments that we've talked about are a key part of that solution, from making sure we have vibrant waterfronts from the banks of Lake Erie to the shores of the Cuyahoga River.
Make them want to be here.
Exactly. And making sure that we activate our green spaces and activate Public Square as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of the reimagination of Public Square. Having companies like Sherwin-Williams double down on Cleveland, building a brand new skyscraper in our downtown. Not many mayors can tout the fact that a company is building a brand new skyscraper in their urban core. And that was a nearly $900 million investment from Sherwin, bringing 3,000 employees back to downtown Cleveland 5 days a week. I know Fahrenheit and the chef there is very happy about that. And it's so important that we keep our foot on the gas. PNC has brought all of their workers back 5 days a week. And I think you're going to see more companies doing that over the next several months.
All right, Mayor, thank you. A lot of work done. safety and redevelopment in the neighborhoods and in the downtown. A lot of work still to do. You're a busy man.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you being here for our premiere edition. Thank you so much.
Always happy to come over.
So thanks to the mayor. Again, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for watching this very first edition of Newsmakers. I'm Brian Duffy. We hope to see you every week at 6:30, right after our 6 o'clock news, right here for Newsmakers. Have a great night.